It is Friday, October the 22nd. We are here for a preview for the Santa Anita Pick'em contest for Saturday, October the 23rd. We wanted to give you plenty of time to get your entries in. You got to handicap them. These contests aren't easy. You don't just go in and takes 2 seconds to fill your lineup out. That's why we're going to go through these free entry contests that you can get involved in at pick'em.santanita.com. That's the website. Very simple to remember. We'll pull up the site in just a minute. We'll show you, and we'll go prop by prop. Chase joins me again this week. Buddy, Chase, I got to give you some props.
Yeah.
Props about the props, because you actually had a really good week last week. You were in striking range toward the top of the standings on the Saturday contest that we talked about on the Friday live stream. You did really well. So you didn't win, but you're seeing the ball well right now.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Strong contact. The next one, you're not going to get one of those weird winds that blows in that knocks the home run down. That thing's going out.
I'm not going to catch a Santa Ana that's going to knock it down at the warning track. No, I think, I had a really good time with the football props. Those kind of just fell right into my wheelhouse, and was able to pick 1 out of 3 winners on the actual races, which I feel, we were talking earlier, I feel like it's got to be just key. So it set me up to, I'll tell you what, for a free 99 entry fee, that was a whole lot of fun watching the leaderboard late to kind of see how things were shaking out and trying to figure out how I needed to finish to hit everything and try to have it. Yeah,
it's a lot of fun. It is. And this week on Saturday and on Sunday, we're going to talk about the Saturday contest here. They're getting a little bit harder, right? More sports are coming into the mix now. NHL, NBA. So we're getting some cross sport props between them. College football on Saturday. Then on Sunday, you'll get some NFL, some NBA stuff too. So there are it's getting really difficult. You have to put on your thinking cap. You're going to have to handicap the races a little bit. You're going to have to dig into some box scores and to look up, team statistics from some of the other sports and stuff. Mm-hmm. So we were talking about it before. You and I were guys who growing up, we were on the decathlon teams and on the quiz teams, and this sort of feels like one of those, if you're into sports and into horse racing, this is one of those logic quiz kind of, hey, how much do you know a little bit about basketball or baseball or football or, whatever we've got here, you put it all together and then racing on top of it. It's a lot of fun and it's difficult.
Yeah. You have to be a Renaissance man. I tweeted this, I was real proud of myself. It's you gotta transcend sport and species in this one. I'm waiting for you to fold in dogs, greyhounds, fucking. If we can incorporate offshore monkey knife fights, I'm for it also.
We will we'll throw everything at the wall. We'll see what sticks here. Pick'em.santanita.com. That's where you want to head to get signed up, because it's totally free, and we're going to take you through prop by prop in just a minute. But there's one thing that I wanted to share with everybody before we get into the contest for Saturday, and it is something that involves Santa Anita. There is a really great charity event this weekend at Santa Anita. Wolf, I know you're someone who's played a little poker in your day once or twice, and there is a charity poker tournament, and the proceeds go to an incredible cause. It is called Folds of Honor, and this is an organization that provides scholarships to spouses and children of America's fallen and disabled service members. So just unbelievable, and any support that you can give to this foundation would be a big help. So Santa Anita this weekend, they're going to give all the money that they raise from this poker tournament to Folds of Honor, and for $300 you can get the buy-in. If you're in the area, come. $300 buy-in. Let's show you what you get for that buy-in. You can get a day at the races in the stretch run suites, full night, no limit Texas Hold'em, drink tickets, food station, silent auction, challenge coin. And then look at some of the, if you just want to come and hang out, but you don't want to play poker, you can get in for $50. If you want to just make a donation, you can do so by heading to their website. You can go to foldsofhonor.org. Look at the silent auction they have here. Clippers, Lakers, Kings tickets, Chargers tickets, sitting in, hanging out with Doug O'Neill in his suite. I can tell you that might be the best of all the prizes. I know Dougie Fresh. They have some fun over there. There probably will be a few drinks flowing in that O'Neill suite. I can promise you that. Angels autograph. I mean, just incredible prizes in this silent auction. So this is on Saturday, October the 23rd, 5 o'clock p.m. to 10:30. That's a really great event happening over there at Santa Anita. So wanted to make mention of that before we jump into the Santa Anita contest for Saturday. And Wolf, one thing that we mentioned and we will repeat over and over, we're going to hit you over the head with it, those tiebreakers. Yep. Don't forget about those tiebreakers, right? You can't forget about the tiebreaker. It's the first thing on the page. You probably skip it and start filling out the rest of the props and then sometimes forget to come back and fill it out. So let's start with the tiebreaker this week. I'm going to pull up the Santa Anita page. We'll go through the props. Tell me a little bit about how you kind of handicap the tiebreaker and what number you're looking at.
So I looked at it kind of much the same way that I looked at it last week, as I wanted to look at the average yards per game for both. And last time I want to say I tweaked it up a little bit. USC Notre Dame, this is a rivalry game. I decided I probably needed to tweak it down just a little bit. So I landed on 765. I feel like this game maybe gets uglied up a little bit. And we'll get more into this, but I thought that they might go a little bit under their averages, but they weren't going to be like it wasn't going to be complete famine with the offensive sides of the ball.
We were similar. Again, I went in the 777 range. So just sort of tweaked them. I think the two teams together average 815 total yards. Like you said, some of those averages are built in on really bad teams that they can beat up on. So they inflate those averages a little bit. But USC, I have no idea really what to expect. We'll talk a little bit more about this game when we handicap, because this game is actually in one of the props. Prop number 7 is actually the spread, USC plus 7.5, Notre Dame minus 7.5 in this game a little bit later on. So I think we're both kind of similar in the way we looked at the tiebreaker. What you said, 765, I was 777, kind of in that same range.
Yeah, I got to quit assuming that every single football game ends in a multiple of 5, like 5s and zeros. I might need to branch out into some prime numbers here.
So just one other thing to mention, if you're hanging out, if you're watching, we're going to give away at the end of this stream a free $20 win wager. I'm going to pick any one of you out there who likes the tweet that this stream is going on and retweets it and follows me. That's it. It's going to take you 2 seconds. If you're watching it, all you have to do right now, retweet, you're following me, boom, you're entered. At the end, I'm going to do the random tabulator. It'll pick one of you. I'll get in touch with you. You can have a $20 win wager on any horse you want on the Santa Anita card for tomorrow. Wolf, I did this earlier today with a live stream that I was doing of the Friday Santa Anita and Keeneland. We gave away 320 win bets. One of them, the gentleman Nick, picked the horse Spooky Channel, who won at Keeneland at 7-1. He turned a $20 free bet into $160.
I just finished DMing Jason Barkley to tell him congratulations on that graded stakes win. That was a heck of a run, and that's a nice little score to going from nothing to Hammer and Spooky Channel in that race, because that horse was about 6-1, man.
7-1, I think, ended up going off at. So a great job by Nick, and one of you out there can have the opportunity to try to turn that 20 into 50, 100, couple hundred. Doesn't matter. You can play on a 2-1 shot or a 100-1 shot, whatever you want. I'll make that wager for you. If it hits, I'll send you the cash right on over. So right now, retweet the stream. We ask you do that because it'll help share the stream around, get a few more eyeballs on that. And because I'm asking you to do a favor, I'm going to do you one right back. We're going to give you that cash. So I would never ask anything unless I was going to give you a little something right back. So we will give that to you. As you can see, it's scrolling right across the bottom of the screen. Let's jump into race number 1 and prop number 1.
Gino's going to reach out to you and let you know you won. I'm going to reach out to you to ask if I can borrow about $15.
Yeah, he's good. Hey, there's this horse I like at Belmont Park. I promise. I'll show you. He's on one of my sheets. We're going to talk about Wolf's Oaklawn and Belmont sheets a little bit later. So right now, Wolf, let's talk about Santa Anita. Let's talk about race number 1. I will start with you. That is the first prop. Who is the winner of race number 1? That's it, plain and simple. This isn't a tricky one where you have to think in your head and then add and subtract and what might be more. It's just handicapping the race. Who do you think's going to win? And something to keep in mind, you are not rewarded for price.
Right.
And you're not, it doesn't hurt you for taking the chalk. So if you think that is the most logical winner, that's the horse you probably want to take. But if you look around, you'll notice the percentages, and like you would expect, the shorter priced horses are the ones that are always going to be the most heavily backed, like Roy C., who's picked by 38% of the people, and Lookout Point and Riviera Champ, who are picked by 19%. So sometimes you want to zig. Other times you kind of got to take the chalk and move on. How are you going to start in race number 1?
Just I'm zigging. I'm a full-on Ziggy cartoon in this
right
one.
Up the bat, baby.
Yeah. So one thing I noticed with this maiden race, it's a tough maiden race. For one, it's 2-year-olds. For two, you have a lot of class moves. You have horses dropping out of maiden special weight, out of protected classes into their first attempts at claiming. You have horses that are making their first time starting in a maiden claiming race, which is always tricky. What I kind of drilled down on was that I couldn't locate a horse anywhere in this race that has any sort of history of passing another horse. Like no one, not even looking like they passed like tired horses. And so I went to some of my just kind of favorite angles, and I landed on the 8 State of the Union, the first time gelding for Jeff Bondi with Jessica Pfeiffer, who I'm a fan of quite a bit. Like her aggressive riding, like the weight breaks.
Exactly. I'm always going to be a fan of the aggressive ride. And like, that's just one of the more basic things that if you're not sure what to do, if you're all else fails, like I would prefer the break well, get out in front. Because how many times do you see horses get stuck behind, get in traffic trouble? Weird things happen. It's so simple, but if you're not in it, you can't win it. If you haven't given yourself an opportunity, she gives her horses opportunities all the time. She does a really good job.
And see, I don't just fire blindly at geldings. There are certain things I'm looking for in a gelding, which is I want to see what looks like a focus work tab post being gelded, because it means that gelding the horse actually did what it was intended to do. So I'm looking back at this workout from the 17th of October, 47 second work, 4 furlong clip, which I mean, 12 seconds per furlong. Anything south of that's pretty quick. Kind of surprised this one didn't catch a bullet. But still, that looks like a focus horse who fired, another 48-second workout, another 48-second workout, basically since being gelded. Is just workman like tab. And so I really like State of the Union to come out firing, to take advantage of that weight break. And after going through the ultimate equipment change, getting its picture taken.
Yeah, I'm going to be in. Yeah, I'm not going to go for the shortest price, but I will go for sort of one of those top tier of horses that's getting a lot of support. I'm looking at the 3 Riviera Champ, and I just think this is going to be a much, much better spot for him. In his debut, I played him in his second start off of the debut, and Michael McCarthy improves horses quite a bit second time out. Honestly, watching the race too, I just think he was in just a little bit tough. It really just looked like a horse who might have been in just a tad tough there. You drop in from the maiden special weight ranks now to the maiden claiming ranks here. And just off of like his numbers and figures, if he has any improvement at all, he should be right there. He's going to be making his 3rd start now. He has a sibling who won a couple of starts going long on the turf. So pedigree wise, going a little bit longer should be fine. And I think he actually sort of looked like a horse who will be a little bit better going long. Like, I think that when they go quick and when other horses that had quick acceleration, he kind of was like in between. I think he's a little bit more, will develop better in this longer situation. So give me Riviera Champ as a horse who I'll be playing right off the bat. So we're not going with the most obvious horse, but I will go for a little chalkier result, whereas the Wolf gives you a big price. Definitely a horse you want to play in the early pick 5 there too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You've got to spread in this race for the early pick 5. I feel like taking a stand on a horse is just kind of foolish, but that's the name of the game in the pick'em. So that's what we're doing.
Okay, so we move along from prop number 1 to prop number 2. So let's pull back up the Santa Anita page for prop 2. And this one, Wolf is going to get into Flavian Pratt and his specific mounts on the card.
And he's in every single race, I believe.
Every race, all 9. And just to give everybody an idea, so 9 races on the card on Saturday. Pratt's in all 9. So in the opener, he's 4-1. Every race after that, he's a shorter price on the morning line. He is 2-1 or less 4 times. He is 3-1 or less 8 times.
Man, I hate to, well, I don't hate. Sometimes I just relish being a chalk eating weasel, but I'm a chalk eating weasel with this one. I'm seeing that 85% pick this 1-3. Like, everything else feels like a crapshoot. 4-6, like, that's an insane day. And you still have some really talented jocks out there, such as Umberto Rispoli, who's going to get his on turf. You have Juan Hernandez, who is just, there's a reason that he keeps popping up in these questions, is that he's talented. You've got the Bug Girl, Pfeiffer. You've got all sorts of, talented, I feel like the jock talent level starting to creep up a little bit in California, where it got a little bit desolate for a little bit. So, 1-3, that feels like just the safest play, because 1, that makes sense. 3, that's a huge day and you're still covered. I just kind of went by gut feel in this one, way less scientific.
Yeah, the only 2, it's one of the, it's 1-3 or 4-6 for me, obviously, right? And this may be one where I might lean 4-6, just looking at the way the card shapes up. He's got a 9-5, a 6-5, and a 9-5 too in 3 spots. He is going to be really heavily backed, and you are right in that I do think the colony is getting better, and there are some quality pilots out here. I still think he's still a lot better. And I think if he's going to have a day where he's on a lot of horses that makes sense, he picks up horses when he's not on as good of a horse sometimes and will win. Like when he's 8-1 to 10-1, he wins on a horse that's not the best, because if they were, they would have gotten bet, So I might go 4-6 just to try to be a little contrarian here. And
makes sense. Yeah.
If he has a great day, then I'm just hoping the difference is 3-4, like you said, right? 3 is a really good day. Maybe it's the difference from 3-4, and that's where I can knock a lot of other people out here. But I think he's getting in the winner's circle, so I couldn't get to 0. 7-9 would be that's record-breaking stuff.
Part of me wonders how many races he would win if he took his tack to New York. Like, I feel like he would just, because he's just such a good, assertive rider that won't let the race be dictated to him. He's actually going to dictate how the race is run, and he doesn't always have to do it on the front end. He can do it from a pressing position.
You don't think of him as someone who just is a send every horse rider either.
Yeah, he's not like Paco Lopez or anything.
No, like Edwin Maldonado is a very good rider, but when you think of Edwin, you think of like a speed rider, like he's gonna, and that's what he does well. But with Flavian, he is just someone who, he has the clock. That clock is so good in his head. He gets the feel for when to go. Oh, I got to go right now. And today we're talking on Friday about Saturday. Saturday could be a very, very big day for him, the way it shapes up with this prop. We both think he's winning at least 1 race, and maybe even up to 6, the way that I may answer this question as we continue along on our props free contest, pick'em.santanita.com. This one's a little bit interesting here. So we've got UCLA versus Oregon. UCLA kind of showed everybody that they're a pretty good football team earlier in the year when they beat LSU. LSU's not very good anymore. They're not quite as good as they've been the last couple of years, but that was still a good win for UCLA. And where they've lost a few games this year, they're still a pretty good football team.
And I think they're a team that, if we're going to use like horse racing terms, is kind of rounding into form. Like it's really, they've really kind of maybe had their bounces early, and they're kind of picking it up late. Whereas with Oregon, that's a team that looks like it's maybe kind of going off for them a little bit. They've had some squeakers. A squeaker against Washington, especially if you're a top 10 team in the nation, at home, is darn near inexcusable. So I kind of like how things are moving, and especially kind of like how UCLA is getting this game at home in Pasadena. That should be a decent crowd for that game, and
See,
you know how I feel about Chip Kelly, and I landed on UCLA.
I'm going UCLA too. Oregon's 1-5 against the spread this year.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they had the win at Ohio State, and that was a great win, and that's probably what people still remember. But I think they're a little overvalued, and I think the line in this game all week has been UCLA -2, UCLA -1.
Yep.
Which that tells you right there. Like, if Oregon's not like a 5-point favorite in this game, they're not the dominant juggernaut Oregon, you know. So I went to the Bruins also, and UCLA number 3 on the prop. In a lot of these props that are built sometimes earlier in the week, so the betting lines will move. I'll just like to, in a very simple, basic way, get the best value that you can out of it. Right? You wait till the end, you kind of see what the number is, and if the number is like UCLA -2 or 3, then oh, cool, I got a couple points here, and it's a pick 'em. I'll take the situation where I get the points. You know, I get the opportunity.
I mean, it was the line move through the week that put us both on Kentucky to cover against Georgia.
Exactly. That's a great point.
Which was that spread was a tough one. So yeah, definitely watch how those lines moves. And you don't have to be plugged into like a betting site, a betting app, or an offshore. You can just pull up the ESPN app and you can watch the lines and see how they move.
Seriously, it's not. Yeah, nowadays it's all over the place. Like at all the sites. Hell, just ask one of us. We'll help you. We'll help you out. And we move along from number 3 to number 4, Ducks Wild. Now I got to be honest. I love to share my opinion. I love to talk about things that I think I know what I'm talking about. I don't know anything about hockey at all whatsoever. I think for me, it's mainly because being in Southern California, I never played hockey, right? So growing up, I played baseball, basketball, football, soccer, all the sports. I learned them, more as I played them. Then I got into coaching them and all that sort of stuff. I would watch Kings games when they were good, but I just never myself really embraced hockey. When you go to a hockey game, it is one of the best live sporting experiences that there is. It's incredible. The feel of the ice, it's cool there. You literally feel the ring shake when everybody gets slammed right into the ice. It's awesome. Into the walls. It's great. I cannot tell you anything at all about hockey. Any team, do not listen to me at all in this. I'm literally just going over.
I absolutely love watching hockey. When a little movie called The Mighty Ducks came out, it made a young man in Arkansas really get into hockey for about like a year until there was an unfortunate situation where I took a slap shot at a friend and it hit him right.
This is right for a later podcast.
Yeah, and he ran away, and I never had anyone to play hockey with anymore after that. And also, I can't see the puck. I just feel like there's an elaborate mime troupe going on out there, but. Yeah, I took a look at what the Ducks and Wild had been doing points wise. They're both scoring around, they're both averaging, games that go over about 6 goals. And I think what's making people think about this a little bit more was the Ducks and Wild played not that long ago, and it might have even been preseason, but it was a 1-2 game, 3 goals. And so I think people might be trying to lean into that, thinking that there's a little bit more of a tougher matchup. I'm going to look at just basically what math has told me on more of a long run and say that they cover the over the 5.5.
Both heading over on prop number 4. So the 5th one, we can head back to DRF and pull up for race number 5, because this one's just picking the winner of race number 5 as we get to the 5th race. I'll let you start here, Chase. So I think we have just a few of the props throughout the day where you just have to pick the winner. I think only races 1, 5, and 9, right? Where you're just picking the winner of the race. And then there are a couple other props that you have to look throughout the races. Like we talked about the Flavian Pratt one a little earlier in this basic pick the winner of race number 5 Who are you looking at?
I had a tough time. It was a toss up, and it was between the two. You'll probably figure I had a toss up between, which was the Kitten's Kid and Big Summer, and I ended up going to Big Summer with Umberto Rispoli. I just trust him on the turf. He just knows how to ride it. His style is just transferred really well to Southern California turf riding. Has had a last race that makes me think that the horses learned how to pass other horses, but it just had a mistimed run that it got pulled just a little.
Exactly. He just moved early. You know what? This horse, he was sitting on a ton of horse. He just moved a little bit early. And honestly, what I think sort of happened too is, I don't know if it wasn't as if he stopped riding, but he opened up. He got a big margin, and it was sort of like kind of starting to gear down. And then someone had built up their momentum and was going. And by that time, it was like he was probably still the best there. And you won't see me in the later race, taking a shorter price, but I tried, and I just couldn't get as excited about Kitten's Kid as I could about the prospect of Big Summer, who I really just feel like is a standout in here. I know she's burned a lot of money so far. She's been the beaten favorite multiple times so far. She's been second in 3 consecutive races. That the way she ran last race when she opened up and stopped, it's like they're kind of figuring her out a little bit more. Like you said, everything isn't linear, right? It's not A plus B equals C with everything that you do. Sometimes it's a couple steps forward, one back. It's learning. It's putting it all together. I think she's going to probably run a really big race in here. And, we have another prop built in a little later with Rispoli. This is one that you kind of looked at and probably give him a pretty strong chance to win with.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And with Big Summer, I think the very last tipping point of it was how productive of a mare Big Summer is out of. Ultimate Summers, she's got 8 horses that have made the gate, 6 winners, 1 stakes winner, 3 turf winners, and then by Mr. Big. That's such a great turf sire, especially for these sprints. Love Mr. Big horses. It was tough. It was tough. It's hard not to go Pratt a lot of the time, but I thought that Big Summer.
We move along from prop number 5 to prop number 6, so we can pull back up the Santa Anita page, and we will check out this one is going to bring some NBA into the mix. The NBA season started this week. I can tell you I am an NBA hole, my friend. I love me some NBA, and I'm a big Lakers fan, but I am like a nerdy NBA fan. Fantasy, DFS, I'll watch all sorts of games. I've got my, different NBA subscriptions where I can, I'll check everybody out on League Pass. And at 4:00, bad teams, good teams, I don't mind. I love basketball. I love to play basketball too. It's just one of my favorite sports overall. And now we get some basketball in the mix here. So tell us a little bit about the 6th prop that we're looking at here, Chase.
So we're going to take a look at what number is higher. Is it going to be the highest win payout from one of the races at Santa Anita? So the $2 win payout. Or is it going to be the leading point scorer, their point total, in the Clippers versus the Grizz?
Nice.
This is like your neck of the woods taking on my neck of the woods here.
This is great here. So now, like you said, first off, in your head, okay, highest payout at Santa Anita. You want to kind of in your head go through the races. Things will get crazy, right? But you want to project which race might have. There are a couple double-digit horses in here that I think might be able to win. Or this is a race where I don't like the favorite. I think the favorite is vulnerable, so this might be a race. In my head, I kind of look, and the number that I always kind of gravitate towards is like we were talking about this before the show, is like a 15-1 shot. I kind of look at that sometimes as like a measuring stick number for the largest price on a card that you may get. Some days you'll get more, some days big fields, big days, but to me it's like, oh yeah, there was like one big price. It was a 15-1 shot. And I think that looking through the Santa Anita card, that's kind of where I had them pegged. I thought a few races had some vulnerable favorites that probably will be heavy favorites. And if they lose, you're going to have multiple horses that are in that 12, 15-1 range that can win. So right. I kind of have $30 as sort of like my target in my head. And then I kind of go over to the NBA. How did you sort of handicap this? Like, what's sort of the process you're going through?
So, I mentioned this, I think, on the last stream, is when we had the prop last time of what race is going to pay out, have the highest win payout. And so I kind of looked at the races that way. I went through and I looked at field sizes. That's the biggest thing, is you usually need a good number of horses to get a good size price. And what I noticed was that there are probably, I want to say, at least 3 5-horse fields in here.
Yep.
That's going to knock out about, that's going to knock out a third of the card from those payout possibilities.
Yep. This
one was tough. And I mean, honestly, if my odds float on my horse in the first, I might knock myself out of this one, because yeah, I went with the leading point scorer in the Clippers Grizz game. Like you said, it feels like about 30 points, $30 is kind of like the breaking, the break point there. I don't see Kawhi, I don't see playoff P, I don't see Ja Morant. I mean, who's he got? Valanciunas with him now.
Steven Adams they got over there now. They flip-flopped. Jaren Jackson.
Steven Adams, point machine.
Yeah. So no, you're right. When you look at their rosters, it's not like, I don't see a team where, you might get a Durant. Like George, I think George's going to have a very good year, but he's more of like an efficient player who will do a little bit of everything, then will score like 50, Yeah.
I mean, the Clips just, moved probably the best on-ball defender in the NBA in the offseason. And so that makes me think that maybe Ja Morant could torch him.
Ja Morant had 37 on opening night this year. So that's a number that would be pretty hard for the payout at Santa Anita to get to, right? Yep. That 37, like a $37 winner based on a couple of the races being short fields that we look at. So that, do you think that happens there? Jaren Jackson, Ja Morant, Desmond Bane, probably some of the guys for the Grizzly who will be scoring for the Clippers: Paul George, Reggie Jackson, Marcus Morris, Eric Bledsoe. The reason why I'm going to go over is because I like a horse in the last race that's 15-1 on the morning line. And so I'm just going to sort of play into my handicap for that and hope that if I'm right in that race, then I'm right about that race. And I could very well be right about this prop too. Boom, boom. And that would be great for me, because there are not going to be very many people that have that 15-1 shot.
Right.
So if I hit that and then have this prop and I hit them both, I'm going to be picking up 2 points when a lot of people may not get any. So this could be a little separation spot for me, as I like these multi,
Oh yeah.
These are a lot of things that I started to pay attention to on Super Bowl weekend, right? When they have all of the prop extravaganza and they have all these crossover, what's going to be higher? The points total, points, rebounds, assists, or, so
how many minutes the weekend plays during halftime?
Yeah. So these are a lot of fun. As we continue along, we move from number 6 to number 7, and we are heading back to college football now. We started to talk a little bit about this game at the very beginning because it is in the tiebreaker. Don't forget to fill out your tiebreaker. Notre Dame, USC. I'm a huge USC fan. They are not good, but they had a lot of turmoil this year. And the one sort of actual handicapping angle I will say was USC was a very poorly run football team. They have been the last few years. Clay Helton was a great guy, but he was not a good head football coach. The team was not disciplined. They were messing around all the time, and they did not feel like a team at all. And when Clay Helton left, the new staff has been very adamant about wanting this team to be disciplined, wanting to knock off the penalties, wanting to change the way they act, even more than winning games, right? It was sort of like, you got to go back to square one, start all over, get rid of some of those bad habits, and then you'll start winning. What I like is that USC is coming off a bye, and Notre Dame's coming off a bye, but for USC, they actually have a staff that has a bunch of stuff that they could have taken the time during the week off to implement. and put in. And so I feel like we're going to see a much sharper, cleaner, maybe a little different looking USC team than we've seen earlier in this year, because this was like a mini training camp for them. This was like summer for the new staff, just taking a shot here. You know, you're at the point now in the season where they're 3-3 now, right? Nothing crazy is happening for this USC team. At the very least, you can come in and make this a miserable night for your rival, a team that you hate. Get a little bit creative, throw a few things in the playbook. Do I think USC wins this game outright? Probably not. The hook is why I go to USC. The 7.5 for a team with the opportunity to backdoor cover there late. I'm going Trojans here.
So my wife is Notre Dame alum. We very carefully have to string words with the letters S and C together. Like I can't even say muscle in front of her. It's crazy. And so I'm really glad she's at work right now, because I'm kind of on.
She would have not even liked this being on the screen, like
right.
Seeing the logo right there.
Yeah. I mean, you said it. After they got rid of Clay Helton, this is a team that just looked absolutely lost. They looked lost when they got just shellacked by Oregon State. They looked lost playing against a few teams. But they've kind of started to put it back together. This is a rivalry game. If this team is going to get up for any game this year, it's going to be this one. This is the Sweater Girls versus the Irish Guard. This is, Marcus Allen versus Joe Montana. This is Jerome Bettis versus, Reggie Bush. This is a big time game. And I really kind of think that they're going to, this game is going to get uglied up, because I'm not a believer in the Notre Dame.
I don't think they're that good either. That's a lot of what it comes down to. Notre Dame has tight wins over Va Tech, Toledo. They're also coming off a bye, but I have not been. They're a better team than USC. That's for sure. I'm not saying that I think USC is better than them, but I don't think Notre Dame is in that top tier of teams in the country.
No. They had a win against, but granted, Purdue managed to make that close win.
It kind of flattered their form, right?
Right, yep. With that win against Iowa. But I mean, honestly, if it's going to come down to it, I'd rather have Keaton Slovis over whoever Notre Dame's going to trot out at quarterback. And knowing Brian Kelly, there might be 5 of them. There might be 5 quarterbacks. It might be a clown car of quarterbacks.
So we're both going with the dog, the Trojans, and plus the 7.5 as we continue along through college football. Looking for some points. You get some points. You get some points. You get some points. LSU and Mississippi total 75.5 here. And it's actually up to 76.5 last that I had looked as of late last night.
Push it to 90 and still give me the over.
I was going to say, so if you're going to play the over, if you like that, you're already in a good spot because it's already moved up a little bit. This is going to be a weird week for LSU, right? With all that Ed Orgeron stuff, it's like,
oh yeah,
you wonder. They made a decision that Ed is going to leave at the end of the year. We're hearing all these reports about he's bringing like women and dates to practice and like having
they're running drills and stuff
with their kids and drills. And that after he got his big contract that he's enjoyed spending the money and he's been quite a womanizer and stuff. Now, this is all reporting and speculation. I don't know any of this personally, but
if you took away the millions of dollars, I'd be like, oh yeah, that man drives a Mazda Miata.
It's just, isn't it just seem, doesn't it just seem like so much going on for LSU? And it's not, like we said, it's not as if this team was great or like had a bunch of focus anyways. They're fine. They're capable of scoring a ton of points. They average 32.4 points per game. They average 390 total yards, but the problem is they allow 399 total yards. They have no defense whatsoever. Even when they were good, they had a couple of playmakers on the defense, but their defense was never great. They could just outscore you. So I look at these two teams more than even the points. I like to look at the yards too. We talked about this too. Sometimes points, wins, losses can be a little fluky, but moving the ball, those kind of things are a lot more consistent. You can really get a feel for how teams are and who they are. And Ole Miss averages 553 total yards a game. They allow 436 total yards per game. I know that coaching staff over there well too. Defense is optional with them, So I look at both of these two teams. I look at LSU's last 2 games. They've allowed 42 points to each of the last 2 opponents. I look at the last 3 times Ole Miss played at home. They scored 52, 61, and 54. I'm going over.
Oh, absolutely. I think, I see a high percentage on the under, and this is what I think is factoring into it. You're going to have Matt Corral out. Well, to me, that might not be as big of a deal as people think, because while he is a talented quarterback, and I'm sure that the offense might suffer a little bit in production, you have to remember, and this isn't supposed to be insulting, but it's going to come off that way. Matt Corral is a system quarterback. He's running the Lane Kiffin system. They've got the analytics. They're going to be going for it on 400 for a 4th down. He's going to have, plenty of opportunities. I have no doubt that whoever they have backing Matt Corral up is going to be able to fit in, no problem. And they're not going to stop a lot of teams. You look at what Arkansas did, which Arkansas, they had not been putting up tons of points, and they got out there and just got into a track meet with Ole Miss in the second half. Like, the amount of points that they put up in the second half was insane. I feel like LSU got their win it for Coach O win last week against Florida, where they won on one of my favorite LSU angles, which is because Baton Rouge. Sometimes they just win because Baton Rouge. Like, Florida feels cocky. They're dressed like Fanta orange cans, and then they just get trounced because Baton Rouge. And I think they got that out of their system. They're probably coming back to earth a little bit, but they're still going to score points. Like, they're not in a hurry to stop anybody. So,
No.
they might go triple digits, I honestly think.
We're rolling over for prop number 8 as we move along. So number 9, we'll head back to DRF and take a look at race number 9 from Santa Anita, because we're just going to be picking the winner of this one. So we head over and pull up our past performances from DRF, which I'm using the DRF past performances. A big thank you and a big shout out to drf.com for giving us the ability and the accessibility to pull those up. When we talk about the races, we show all of you all those cool features. You can head to drf.com, purchase different packages for 1 day, for a week, for, put up a bunch of credit if you're going to be playing every single day. Cheaper for the bigger the packages that you purchase. drf.com.
Not to mention workout reports that are so crucial during the summers.
Incredible stuff, especially with the younger horses. And starting next week, you're going to hear about DRF Sports. And we're going to talk a little bit about them, DRF, and all that great information that from Daily Racing Form for horse racing. They are going to be expanding into mainstream sports, helping you out, game previews, all sorts of information, analysis. It's a little bit of it's what we call a tease, a little bit of a tease.
I'm just imagining like Jay Privman, like stealing an athlete's x-rays out of the doctor's office.
More on that next week. But for now, we jump into race number 9, which is prop number 9 of 12 on our contest sheet for Saturday. So race number 9, how are you approaching this race? And it's another simple one. Simple. Yeah, just pick the winner of this pretty difficult race where there are 12 horses going 6 furlongs on the turf course. Pretty simple, right?
Yeah, so with this, you got to lean on pedigree. You got to lean on what you can discern from the workouts. You got to lean on what the trainer is able to do with firsters with lightly raced horses. And Gino, I'm going to try to find out if a Wong makes a right in the last race with Jonathan Wong's horse.
Nice.
Shopping for Pharaoh. I'm not sure if this is common knowledge, but American Pharaoh is a fantastic turf sire. Fantastic turf sire. This is an American Pharaoh baby. It's out of a Smart Strike mare, which means that this horse could maybe go longer than the 6 furlongs later. You look at what Wong is doing with first-time starters. He's hitting about a 20% clip. hitting at about 23% on the turf. But
So
I noticed
this is American Pharaoh with the turf success that you were talking about. Just to give people a look, really good stuff on the turf. Just excellent. And all this information, you can pull up with the DRF formulator past performances. You pull right back. Like you said, Wong is just a really good conditioner, and you can click with one click on Wong and pull up the statistics, and then you can set them up and check out. Just like you were saying, let's see, with first-time starters, you go to days between starts for Wong. We pull this down, first-timers, and we can apply that filter and see. What's nice is my computer mouse is getting stuck a little bit from all the sweat on my computer. That's always nice, right?
I mean, it means you put in a good day's work. It wasn't digging ditches.
No, you're working your buff when that's the case. But this is a 20% conditioner with first-time starters, just to give you an idea. So that's an excellent number. He's a really good barn, and he's really good with first-time starters.
And one thing that I noticed was actually the combination with Ricardo Gonzalez. It's a really small sample size. It's 4 races, which means he's won 1 of 4, but it's a positive ROI move for Wong to partner up with Ricardo Gonzalez. When I look at my first timers, like to see at least 3 gate workouts in their workout tab. And so I mean, this horse literally just checks all the boxes for me. I love American Pharaoh babies. I get my gate works, and I've got connections that know how to run younger horses. And I mean, it's a Tommytown. It's a Tommytown thoroughbreds horse. I mean, they get great blood stock.
I am going to go to the inside a little bit, and I'm looking at the number 2 Booze Runner. I believe they named this after you, Chase. This is something I'm sure you've done a time or two in your day. We're out. Somebody's got to go. Who's making a booze run? It's the Wolf. And I like Booze Runner, the fact that in both of her starts, she's shown a little bit of speed. Now, in career start number 1, she was behind a horse named Ain't Easy. Ain't Easy came out of that race to win the Grade 2 Chandelier, and she is one of the best 2-year-olds in training right now. Ain't Easy is awesome. That race came back very live. The third-place finisher also came back to win. Then Booze Runner moves into a new barn, and Booze Runner tries the turf. And Booze Runner was sort of asked for speed inside and was up to contend, but then got in tight. She drew the rail that day, and she was kind of battling from the inside. She actually took the lead at the top of the lane, and then she tired. You know what you're going to get with her? Down on the inside again. She's just going to send. There's not a whole lot of other proven speed in this race, and I think if she would have she kind of had to hesitate a little bit and then send because she was up from the inside. I think it's just going to be hey, let's just go. Let's make that the decision right off the bat. She got hooked in her debut by a monster. I just don't know if we really have an idea of how good this filly is. I look up and down the rest of this field. Give me the 2 Booze Runner. Second time for this barn. They figure her out a little bit more. Kent D jumping aboard, who's been quietly riding really, really well. And so this is kind of where I had that double handicap where if Booze Runner wins, I'm thinking we're going to get a $30 winner, a $32, $34 winner. So if that's the case, then I think we may go over in the basketball game where maybe we get Paul George and Jaw and some of them in like the high 20s, like 24, 26-ish, something like that.
That's a Steven Adams 20 layup performance, right? So someone actually pointed out Booze Runner to me, and this is my buddy, writer Dave Burnett, who is probably I think the best like West Coast handicapper that I know. And he was all over Booze Runner, and I had one knock, which was I'm seeing the word drifted. Now I'm not seeing anything to necessarily correct that. Like, I'd love to see blinkers on this horse. Like, It could be that this horse pulled out into the stretch and was up and got bored and then had like a drift, like when like a kid in school is just like smarter than everyone else and just done with its work. Now it can only just mess with other kids.
I think she was just done. And then they just were like, I think once she had the lead, she opened up and then she stopped and she just kind of starts backing up. And I think at that point, that was probably when she came out a little bit. And just, for me, I look up and down this race. The horse you mentioned is an absolute use to me in like late pick 4s and late picks 5s. But this is the race where I think you try to beat Urban. I think there are Flavien Prat mounts earlier in the day that I like more than this one. But from that post, for a horse who hasn't shown any speed at all in a race on paper that doesn't seem to have that much proven speed at all, this horse could be wide, could have to come from way out of it wide, and could be a pretty short price because there's not a whole lot of proven in this race. And at least people will look down and go, oh, okay, Urban ran 3rd, and then they tried stakes. And so Urban, Flavien Prat jumps aboard, good connections. This horse will, whatever the price is on her, win or lose, she's going to be way shorter than she should in this field because there are not any other like proven horses with experience. Everyone else that you're taking a shot on is really a first-time starter.
Yeah, the only other one I could see in here that I would be willing to take a shot, and it would be the most contrarian pick possible, and I would be going back to the Jessica Pfeiffer
Nice.
with one arrow. And the reason is when it comes to these sprint distances, God, I love Munnings. I love Munnings horses. They'll run in a parking lot, they will run on broken glass, like they will run on anything.
And this horse also has a winning turf sib, so a nice little bit of grass pedigree also. Wouldn't shock if she ran well first time out on the green. So that is race number 9 at Santa Anita. But our 10th prop will also involve Santa Anita. Actually, I think 2 of our final 3 props will, but not a specific individual. Just pick the winner of this race. This was one that last week I think you said what did you call the combination of Hernandez Baez Nandez or whatever, or
Baez Nandez, yeah, Tyler Baez
and Juan Hernandez. He called it Baez Nandez. This week we've got Rispoli and Hernandez, and we have to figure out how many wins they are going to have on the card together. So earlier in the card, we asked how many wins Flavien Prat's going to have. So just when you're answering questions that are multiple props, that just make sure that the way you answer them makes sense, right?
I got it. Jumberto Hernispoli. That's who it is.
I like that. There we go.
I ate the chalk. I ate the chalk here again for, I 3 to 4. I think I with the combo wins last time, I had the exact same number, and I came up one short. I think I had like two combined wins. Juan is awesome. Juan has made a name for himself in the last year. Actually, same thing with Umberto. Probably,
they're both very like on the rise. Absolutely.
And when I looked at what really kind of put me at the 3 to 4 is how many turf races there are. Like, I was at the Ucla Sportsbook a couple weeks ago, and we were watching Santa Anita, and I was like, is that a Umberto Rispoli horse at 25 to 1? I have to like go and run and bet this horse with both hands, like because it's running on the turf. And I just feel like he gets it done. He has that Pratt quality of he'll just move his horse forward. So say they hit 3 wins. Yeah. Pratt hitting, 1 to 3. That leaves plenty of other races for like a Pfeiffer, for a Ricardo, Ricardo Gonzalez, all these other jockeys to pick them up.
Yeah. When you map it out, they're riding together. Together, they could only win 6 races because they don't have mounts in the 6th, the 8th, or the 4th. The 4th, the 6th, the 8th, neither of them have a mount. So they can't win those races, period. So they can only max win 6 total on the card. So that's sort of how I started my handicapping there. And I looked at it going, I think Pratt is going to have a very good day too, because we looked at his. So you're down to either 1 to 2, obviously, or 3 to 4. Like I always want to eliminate. Those are obviously the chalky 2. But I think I'm going to take the 3 to 4, think that they together win 3, that Pratt will win the 4 on the 4 to 6. That'll be 7. The 3 of them win 7 of the 9 races, and then there are 2 other races on the card 1. And that's a lot of looking at the specific horses. Like, look at Reese Bully's mounts on Saturday. 7 to 2, 4 to 5, 7 to 2, 8 to 5, 5 to 1. Those are live. They're all really live.
There were horses that I tossed back and forth of, do I take or not? And like, they're 100% win.
One of the chalks that we mentioned in race number 5, who's going to probably be even money. He's 8 to 5 on the morning line, and he'll probably go off at even money or 4 to 5. Juan Hernandez, 4 to 1, 5 to 1, 6 to 1, 6 to 1, 10 to 1, but very capable on any horse. So yeah, I think I'll zig a little here, and I'll go. I guess I'm going chalky. So I'll go 3 to 4, and then with Pratt, I'll go 4 to 6. So one of those two, I'll be a little bit off. But yeah, I'm 1 to 2, 3 to 4. It won't be. I don't think it'll be 5 or more because they can only win 6.
Right.
So I'm not going to waste that, and I don't think it's 0 because they have some pretty live mounts throughout the card as we move to number 11. So we're getting into NBA. Between these 4 teams, who will score the most points on Saturday? So which of these teams? So we're basically just talking like another prop NBA team total. Who scores the most points of these teams? How did you sort of handicap, and what are some of your thoughts looking at the teams we're jumping for Saturday?
Looking for point production through the short season. Looking at who they're playing against, and I feel like the Clippers are in there as a trap. I feel like they're a trap.
Yep.
For me, the Grizzlies should be a trap. They're technically the closest team to me, like two hours away.
They're calling to you. They're speaking to you, right? Yeah.
But I zigged. I zigged into the zig, and I landed on the Heat going against the Pacers.
Yeah, we're both on the Heat. Yep.
The Pacers, they had one game where they went over 120. It was opening night, and it was because they went into overtime with Charlotte. Other than that, they've been hanging at like 100.
And the Pacers play. We're recording this right Friday. They play Friday night and Saturday night. So the Pacers have a back-to-back, and
exactly.
Miami does not, which is very nice. So I think Miami will be a little fresher. The Pacers will probably, you said, opening night they gave up 120. Miami scored 137 on their opening night, which was Thursday against the Bucks. A good defense, the returning champs from last year. So you look at Miami, they brought in Lowry. Tyler Hero has been lighting it up through all the preseason, and he had a very good game in his first game of the season. And I'm leaning on Miami in here. I think it's a good spot for Miami. Yep. They scored in the game against the Bucks. They scored 40 points in the first quarter, and then they scored at least 32 in the following 3. It wasn't like they had one great quarter or one great half. They were sustaining all the way through. Let's go Miami on it. And this one might be one where, we might not be getting the higher percentage because, like, with local teams, a lot of times they're going to get a little bit more extra love. With this being Southern California, Santa Anita, a lot of people look Clippers. They'll probably go, "Oh yeah, let's play the Clippers." And I don't know. I don't know if they're going to be a high flying, high scoring team this year. And I like Miami quite a bit in this spot. Prop 11.
What I really dig about Tyler Hero is that he looks like a young Elvis before Elvis like succumbed to the combination of peanut butter and bacon.
We go to our 12th and final prop, all shook up, and you like this one, the margin of victory on the Santa Anita card. So, will the winner? The biggest winner of any race be more or less than 4.5 lengths? That's what they're asking you here. The races on the card for Saturday: 9 races, 5 dirt, 4 turf, 2 dirt routes, 3 turf routes. Over or under for you, Chase?
So I was really bullish on the over last time, but I am equally as bullish on the under this time. Here's the reason. I feel like if you're going to get that sort of margin, it's going to be in a maiden race where other horses are scared to pass or haven't learned to pass yet. You get one horse loose on the lead and it just blows away the competition. That usually happens on dirt. I don't think you're going to get that on turf. And a lot of those maiden races where I would consider those races candidates for a run up the score kind of race, I think you get more blanket finishes on the turf, and so I'm back on the under this time.
Okay, we flip flop this time. I'm going over because I sort of looked at the fact that we have 2 dirt routes and 3 turf routes. So we've got 5 distance races with some short prices in there, just a little bit more opportunity for there to be bigger margins. So this is one of those ones where you could handicap it exactly what you think, and one horse breaks poorly in one race, the other horse goes, catches a flyer, and a 20-1 shot wires a field by 6, and you're done, right?
Right. Yeah. Someone doesn't break right. You don't have the pace set up, and now some horses just loose and brave and just pouring it on.
Awesome. Well, we are just about to finish up. I'm gonna get to a couple things in a moment, but I wanted to announce the winner of the $20 win wager, and a big thank you to everyone. Anytime you see these live streams, just take a look. We're always going to be giving something away. We're always going to be encouraging you to come and hang out with us. And I will do the old randomizer. Congratulations, Detroit Dave. Detroit Woo! Dave 7. I will get in touch with you, or you can just send me a DM. Let me know. Tomorrow, Saturday, you can pick any horse you want on the Santa Anita card. $20 to win on anyone you want. So I'll touch base with you, and we can reconnect again tomorrow once you check the scratches, and you can get a good idea of who you'd like to make your win wager on. And a shout out again to Nick earlier today. He already took one of the 20s that we gave away, and he turned it into $160. So great job, Nick. And
I got a feeling that Detroit Dave versions 1 through 6 got nothing on our boy Detroit Dave number 7.
Detroit Dave 7 is the man. D Dave, thank you so much. I will get in touch with you, and congrats on that. Hope we can make you a few bucks on Saturday. I know one gentleman who can make you a few bucks all the time, and I'm talking you, sir. Me? This guy, that guy right there, Chase. Yeah. As Chase. Not only with that beautiful smile and that great personality that you see here on these live streams, he's a very sharp handicapper, and you put out a sheet where people can purchase your selections if they need any help at all. Let me pull that up, and you can talk a little bit about where we can find some of that information.
Sure, absolutely.
So we got Horse Racing Nation, I believe, is where we can find some of your picks. Here's what it looks like when you go to picks.horseracingnation.com, and this is for the Wolf handicapping. So tell us a little bit about what the sheets give out and where we can find them. Give us, give us the rundown.
Yeah, absolutely. So I right now my sheets are focusing on the NYRA circuit. So these will be available for Belmont every single day. You could buy full card analysis for each day for $9.99. Also offer like a 30-day subscription plan for $49.99, which saves you a couple bucks if you know you're going to be playing every day. Yeah, it's I try to tailor it for a little bit of everyone. For people who are brand new to the track, I give them 3 horse exacta boxes and 4 horse trifecta boxes. For people
so I'm going to pull up your sheet. Keep talking. Sure. I'm going to pull your sheet up. So people can see what an old version will look like.
Sure. And but I also kind of make it with the more experienced handicapper in mind, because what I found is that a lot of my customers aren't people who are brand new to the track. They're good handicappers themselves who just want a sanity check. They want to know that someone else is thinking the exact same thing that they're thinking. So for each race, I give you 4 horses who you'll see on a lot of tip sheets. They just give you the 4 horses and stop. These I give you my picks, the top 3 to put in an exacta, the 4 to put in a trifecta. You see the ABC if you're more experienced in horizontal wagering, how I would structure like pick 5, pick 4, pick 3 sequences. And then I have a notes section where I tell you what I'm thinking, how I handicap the race, what factors I'm seeing. And then, I'm a little bit of a bet structure nerd, and not talking about, deep horizontals. I'm talking about like, the fun ones, the trifectas, the superfectas and things like that. I try to give you some structures that I use that, actually kind of save you a couple bucks and how you build them out, and can kind of improve ROI.
Great stuff. And we can get that at Horse Racing Nation, and we can get that right now for all of the New York stuff, right?
Yeah, for the New York stuff, until I return to my ancestral home, Oaklawn Park, on December 3rd.
Awesome stuff, man. Thank you so much. We got another run of these in the books. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed talking it out with you. For me, as and like every time I gamble, races, sports, whatever, I like to do all my work, but then the talking it out process is so nice, right? With a friend, with someone that you trust, with someone that you respect, you can just kind of bounce back and forth ideas. And I feel like we've done a pretty good job of that over the last couple of weeks. You've led me to a few horses that maybe I won't even play in the contest, but maybe I'll throw in a pick 4 or pick 5, or, make a few bets when I play at Santa Anita. And I appreciate the time and the effort you put in, because like we said, these are fun, but it's going to take you a little while to get prepped for these. Yeah, you're putting in some work. So you got the place we can follow you right there at Oaklawn on Twitter, correct?
At of Oaklawn, OF Oaklawn.
At of Oaklawn. And we will also see you bright and early on Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern time. If you go to at BTV Bets on Twitter, there will be a live stream called Campus Profits, where you and a few other gentlemen go over a lot of the Saturday college football slate. You dish out some of your plays for Saturday. You definitely are really checked into college football.
Yeah, it feels like the most fair place to make money sports betting wise, in terms of you get more soft lines that you can attack as opposed to the NFL.
Yeah, the NFL becomes really sharp if you can really lean on some advantages you have in all college sports, which is really nice because there's just less information out there. Any information he's got, he's going to share it with you. That's the Wolf. That's Chase. Thank you so much again, folks, for hanging out. And we will be back again next Friday. Crazy to think about that. Next Friday are actually going to be the final Saturday and Sunday contests of the meet. So we'll be back again for you Friday. We'll help set you up for next week on Saturday. And let's make some money tomorrow. Again, don't forget tiebreaker. Get those in. Head on over to pick'em.santanita.com. Good luck, folks. Have a great rest of your Friday and on into Saturday. Thanks again, Chase.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me, man.
Boom.